with that, in that season, there's been so many people here that began to operate in their giftings and their talents and expressing the gift that God has used and expanded in them. Several people have written books, they've written songs, poems, I should say. And I want to ask Joanne Holbrook if she would come very quickly. She is our prophetic artist, and Joanne is a dear friend of the North Georgia Revival. Yeah. Come on, stand to your feet. Don't you love her work? All that God does. She just recently came out with a book called A Journey Out of Darkness. There it is, A Journey Out of Darkness, that I want her to tell about. And then tonight, you're going to have the opportunity to go by her book table and get this book. And those of you that are online, I want you to share your website where they can purchase it as well. It is a masterpiece of what her journey has been. One more time, welcome Joanne as she shares.
Thank you, Pastor Todd. It's so much easier over there. A Journey Out of Darkness reveals my personal experience with grief, how I coped as a victim of suicide, and my journey with Jesus after I cried out while struggling to survive. 6 years ago, our daughter Emily took her life. I was riddled with grief and felt darkness consume me. I tell in this book how I was living dangerously in enemy territory prior to my tragedy. I did not know the word, and I was filled with fear, worry, anxiety, anger, bitterness, and unforgiveness. I believed in Jesus. I loved Jesus. I was saved at 9. I had my ticket to heaven, but I had no idea who I was in Christ. I was not prepared for spiritual warfare, and I didn't even know I was in a spiritual battle. I share how I stepped into the Word for the first time in my adult life and found truth that it is not God's will for bad things to happen like I had once believed. I found truth that I have power and authority over the enemy and that my words contain power. You will find out about my supernatural encounter while reading Psalm 91 out loud alone in my prayer room during a time that I needed a defender. I felt chains fall off and I soared above my adversaries. Then breakthrough came. I reveal how I caught the enemy in my life as he was stealing, killing, and destroying. And by catching him, he now has to pay back. Sevenfold recompense. My prophetic art came from the dark place, from the intimate journey with Jesus. He restored the gift of painting, and that was something that the enemy stole from me many, many years ago, and he told me I was not an artist. I wouldn't even allow myself to call that. These paintings now speak to people, and they minister to them, and I cannot tell you what that does for me. And that's all part of my sevenfold recompense, praise Jesus. A Journey Out of Darkness was written for those who are grieving, those who have lost a loved one to suicide or just lost a loved one, or struggling with suicidal thoughts. It is for those who have lost hope, feel condemned, carry the cloak of shame, or maybe they're asking, where is God when tragedy hits? When I cried out, Jesus heard. He brought me out of the dark place. It was a 3-year journey. It was not instant. Little by little, I was transformed. Blessings from brokenness, beauty for ashes, religion to relationship, and mourning to joy. This book is my testimony. Revelation 12:11. And they overcame him because of the blood of the Lamb and because of the word of their testimony. And they did not love their life even when faced with death. I have overcome. The Lord is not a respecter of persons, so I know that if he will deliver me, he will deliver you. He does not intend for grief to be your identity. It's okay to grieve, but you can't park there. Humble yourself and cry out. I want to thank my family and friends, and all those that are here today watching live that have helped me through this self-publication. I couldn't have done it without you. I want to thank Pastor Todd and Pastor Karen. It is this revival, this movement, this church, Kaneo, everything that after this 3-year journey with Jesus brought me here. It was no coincidence, because it was here that he unleashed, that the prophetic art was unleashed. And I just want to say, Satan truly messed with the wrong mama. He did not see this book coming. He did not see the art coming. And I love what the word says. What the enemy meant for evil, the Lord will turn around for good. Because the enemy, so many times, he overplays his hand. And he certainly overplayed his hand when he took my daughter's life. Our daughter's life, I'm so sorry. Mine and Andy's daughter's life. She was precious to us. She's our daughter, and she is waiting on us. I thank you.
Incredible. Love you. Just stand to our feet.